I needed that moment. I needed that moment to see that where I ended up after graduating my master's in business was the standard life choice of a business student. Hi everyone, my name is Lily. I am 25 years old and I am the author of the book Who Told You to Settle? How to Make Extraordinary Your Default, launching fall 2026. Me and my friend were walking along the river and she asked me what I was doing in my job versus what I actually wanted to do. And it took me just 1 second to tell her that what I wanted to do was something else than what I was doing in my job. And I told her I just want to go back being the kid writing stories, publishing books, creating content for people to change their lives. And then she asked me when I was actually starting to doing that. And I told her when I have it all figured out. And once I spoke that sentence, I felt wrongness. I felt totally misaligned with who I am at my core. I needed that moment. I needed that moment to see that where I ended up after graduating my master's in business was the standard life choice of a business student. And I always refused the standard. I always refused to go the path that everybody else goes. And admitting to myself that a life choice I made was actually wrong for me. And for once in life, I was not able to change something and to make it work for me, felt bad, felt like giving up something. But the moment I realized that I was actually not giving up on myself, but I was giving up the version of myself that I actually needed to be, I felt very free. And this is why I decided to quit my consulting job. What I did after that was going back to who I really am, being an author. I started writing my fourth book, Who Told You to Settle? How to Make Extraordinary Your Default. But how did I end up being an author? Well, that started in my childhood. I was always this kind of kid that was a bit on the weirdo side, doing stuff that other kids would not do, like writing stories in her notebook, writing poems at 9, and yeah, writing a book at 11 and publishing it at 15. I started writing Perfezione Letale, my very first book. It's written in Italian because my mother tongue is actually Italian, and it took me 2 years to write it. When I was 13, I was finally done. And knowing I wanted to publish it, I asked my uncle to edit it. So he spent an entire summer going through the pages, improving some sentences, giving me feedback. And so I revised the book. And when I was 15, I started doing some research on the internet to understand how to actually publish a book. So I found Lulu.com, the self-publishing company in America. And I taught myself how to format it. Then I decided what the price tag should be. And yeah, then I hit publish and suddenly my book was in all stores, on Amazon, on Swiss bookstores. And I ordered 100 copies and I put them on the counter of my dad's pharmacy in our hometown and people came in to buy it. It was amazing. It felt amazing to know people have my book on their shelves. And so I decided I needed to write a second book, Caso 6621. This is also a thriller, just like the first one, bloody stories about murderers and police officers. And this one took me less time to write. I wrote it in, I think, 6 months, and then I gave it to my uncle. He did the editing again. And after some time of revising it and everything, I again published it with Lulu.com and sold around 100 copies as well. So it was an amazing feeling to see that people that bought my first book came back to buy the second book. So yeah. And then when I was finishing high school, the summer before going to university, I felt this urge to write another book, but a completely different type of fiction book, which is this one, Treffpunkt. This book is more kind of a dramatic story of two people that apparently do not really have a reason why they should hang out with each other, an older man and a young girl, but they somehow do because they are looking for something in their relationship that they cannot find anywhere else. And then I went to university, and there is where everything started to change, because I wanted to put all my energy, all my motivation, all my ambition into shaping and developing a career I was very proud of. So after racing through my bachelor's, I started working in the startup scene. I was involved in building companies, creating content for these companies. It was amazing. I really enjoyed the startup scene. It taught me a lot. I grew a lot. But then when I started studying my master's, I figured that I needed to enter the corporate world as well, because in there you can learn specific stuff that you cannot learn anywhere else. But there was the moment where I started the journey of losing myself, because corporate is very structured. It's very clear what you need to do, what you cannot do. But if you always want to perform beyond the average, and if you want to prove to yourself that you can be the best in class and you can, get promotion after promotion and everything, you start getting blinded by what this environment offers you, and you start forgetting about who you actually were. And that is what happened to me. Like, writing was something I was not doing anymore. I still had some creative project on the side, but I was not prioritizing my passion over my career. And so everything I used to be got all forgotten. I started just being very misaligned with who I am. And the moment you realize that, hurts a lot, because you feel like you somehow have given up your real self without noticing it. You started settling for something you would have never settled for. But luckily, I realized that. And in that moment, I knew I had to change something. So I quit my job. And after quitting my job, I spent 2 months writing on my book. This book started out as me reflecting on my life, my patterns, how I ended up in consulting, how I made all the choices in my life, how I never let average be my default choice, but what I actually always refused. I started going back to my diaries, my journals, where I used to journaling, where I used to put down my thoughts, my life principles that I wrote to remind myself how to just be me. And looking at those, I found patterns. I found all the answers I usually give to my friends when they come to me and ask me for advice. And I read through those lines. I started writing down a structure. I started figuring patterns out. And while doing that, I knew that is something that can actually change people's life, not only my life. So I decided I wanted to write a book about it. I wanted to write a book about how to never settle again for what you are given. And so I created a formula, a life operating system, 20 life principles, all packed into one book. And I'm extremely excited to bring this book out, because I know it can change your life too. If you're an ambitious misfit, somebody that will never settle for average, that will always push more beyond the boundaries of what it's given, of what it's comfortable, then this book is for you. And if you're somebody that is not meant to fit into systems, into environments where everybody else seems to be comfortable because you want to shape the life you're supposed to live, then this book is also for you. It gives you the answer of how to choose what you want to do, over what other people need you to do. So if you feel like you don't have all the answers yet, where you can start is at lillysciolli.com, my website. There is not yet a life operating system to make this kind of life sustainable in the long term, while choosing it over and over again every single day of your life, because it's what makes you the happiest. So make sure to subscribe to this channel and check out my website. Get early access to the book, Who Told You to Settle? How to Make Extraordinary Your Default.